requesting reimbursement from FEMA. Once FEMA approves, the funds are sent to the state and then distributed to the subrecipients. And it's this step where the hold is been placed. So some funds are further along in the process than others. And the longer the holds continue, the more grant funding will be affected as it makes its way through the process. So there are multiple grants that we're talking about here, and I want to break these down for you a little bit. The disaster grants currently affected are approximately $52 million in those types of grants. They provide financial assistance to states for response, recovery, and mitigation efforts following disasters. We have the Homeland Security Grant Program, where we currently have affected approximately $1.5 million. This is used for terrorism prevention, but it enhances state, local, tribal, and territorial capabilities to prevent, protect, respond to, and recover from terrorism and other threats. We have the Nonprofit Security Grant, or NSGP. There's approximately $850,000 that are at risk with this grant. This supports nonprofit organizations at high risk of terrorist attacks by strengthening their security and preparedness. We have the Emergency Management Performance Grant, or EMPG. Currently affected is approximately $1.5 million with this grant. It is primarily used for emergency management programs both at the local and state level. Hazard mitigation grants, a small amount, but approximately $2,000 is currently at risk here. This provides funding for projects that reduce the risk and impact for future disasters. So some of the key concerns and communication we've had with our federal partners, specifically FEMA, no reimbursement requests have been processed since the holds were placed. The last successful federal reimbursement we have seen here in Michigan was on February 11th of 2025. Initially, we weren't sure what the holds were for. The holds just showed up in the FEMA system. There was a lack of communication. However, that communication has greatly improved here in the last week or 10 days, where we've now received a couple of different emails from FEMA letting us know that there is a new step in the process, specifically a manual review step that's being implemented. FEMA has let us know that the step could cause significant delays in the process as well. However, with that, there's been no clear guidance to at this point in time or instructions on how to navigate this additional step that is being implemented at the federal level. Their legal action, so some of the steps taken here at the state level on March 6th, the Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, along with 21 other state attorney generals, won a preliminary injunction in U.S. District Court to block the withholding of federal agencies' grants, loans, and financial assistance. There is a March 14th deadline that is fast approaching here, where the court has ordered the administration at the federal level to provide evidence of compliance regarding this issue. So we're encouraging our subrecipients to continue to submit their reimbursement requests to the state, and we're continuing to stack those up, so to speak. Work continues at this point in time, but it's getting to the point where we have to start looking at if any changes are going to need to be made. These holds on these grants have the potential to disrupt services and payroll for personnel if it continues. We felt it was important to make everyone aware of this issue. And at this point in time, it'll conclude the briefing, and I'll open it up for any questions. Turn it back over to you, Ms. Thompson-Phillips.
Thanks, Captain. Again, if you have a question to ask Captain Sweeney, if you could please raise your hand, and I will call on you. And I just ask that you please introduce yourself and remind us which organization you're representing. Alvin Jones.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm AJ Jones with WCMU. We're the NPR affiliate for Central and Northern Michigan. At the end there, Captain, you said that there would be payroll impacts. Can you expand on that a bit? Who exactly would be affected by an interruption in payroll? Who in your staff?
Yes, with the Emergency Management Performance Grant and the Homeland Security Grant, Those two grants help pay for payroll both at the state and local level. So here at the state level, we have the majority of our division, the Emergency Management Homeland Security Division, is funded through the EMPG grant. And then the HSGP funds are used at the state level with our Michigan Intelligence Operations Center, some of their staff that work over there. And then at the local level with the EMPG grant, we have individuals, local emergency managers, and some regional planners under the HSGP grant.
Are there any other questions? Isabella Volmert.
Hi there, thanks for doing this. My name is Isabella Volmert. I'm with the AP based in Lansing, Michigan. You said, Captain, that there's this other step that FEMA said was being implemented. It was a manual review. Can you expand on what exactly that is and where that came from and, you know, how that is holding up the process there?
Yes, absolutely. So the manual review step, we were notified of that here in late February with, again, another email that came out from FEMA here in early March. But basically they are, and I'm going to even quote here, that FEMA and DHS are conducting additional reviews of allocations before releasing funds for all grants. These actions will ensure that funding is obligated and dispersed in line with the Secretary's direction so that we can continue to support and prioritize communities and disaster survivors. And again, it mentions a manual review step as well. We're still waiting on some specific information on how we will provide the information that they're going to require from us, how we're actually going to get that to FEMA. Is it going to be entered into a grants management system? Is it going to be an email? Is it a phone call? We're still waiting for that guidance from our federal partners.
All right, up next, is it Arpon Lobo?
Hi, thank you. Yes, this is Arpon Lobo from the Detroit Free Press. Captain Sweeney, you had mentioned, I believe you said February 11th was the last day that Michigan received a reimbursement. Just for context, how often typically were programs in Michigan receiving reimbursements through these programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Typically, when we would put in a request for reimbursement, we would see anything in 3 to 7 business days from the time we submitted that reimbursement request. FEMA went through and processed on their side of the house, and the funds were actually put into the state of Michigan's account. Would take 3 to 7 business days. The last funds drawn down on the Emergency Management Planning Grant, which again, a performance grant, which again is one that funds a lot of personnel costs, both at the state and local level. Our last successful draw on that was January 28th. However, did have a phone call with our FEMA partners this morning, and we're hopeful that we might see some movement on this one very soon.
Okay, up next, it looks like Lisa. Lisa Ruse.
Yes, thank
There
you.
we go. Okay.
I'm Lisa Church with MERS News. Thank you so much. Let's assume that Trump ignores the court order and the funding doesn't come. Does the department shut down? How quickly does the money run out? What exactly is going to happen?
No, that's a great question. Of course, we're all hopeful that the money is going to start flowing again, but discussions are being had at the state level, and we've encouraged our local partners to do the same. To evaluate their set of circumstances and the projects that they may have in the hopper. But there would have to be some significant change here, at least at the state level, with how we fund emergency management if those funds were to be shut off. But we're hopeful that it won't be.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
What's the backup plan, though, if it doesn't? You said that you're encouraging them to look at it and to think about it, but is there a backup plan in place?
Yeah, I can't speak for our local partners on what they may be doing, but at the state level, we're having those discussions right now to determine what that backup plan is going to be.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to David Eggert now.
Hi, it's Dave Eggert at Cranes. Wanted to clarify one thing. You mentioned the local partners, and what's curious, they're getting reimbursed for, is it safe to assume more recent natural disasters and things like that? Or I mean, I was just curious the process of like how long we're going back. Is this like stuff that occurred a year ago, a month ago?
No, that's a great question. We have 4 federally recognized presidential disasters that we're talking about that are open here in Michigan. The oldest one, I believe, goes back to 2018, which were the floods that happened up in the Houghton area. We've also got the COVID disaster, the Midland flood, when the dams broke disaster, and then we had the storms that went across Michigan from the west side of the state to the east side of the state. Back in, I think, 2023 and caused significant flooding in the southeast Michigan area. So to answer the question, it goes back to 2018. A lot of projects are still being worked on. They're not quick projects a lot of times when we're talking about replacing culverts and just so many other things and buildings, et cetera. So yeah, a lot of work that is being done currently on these projects.
Are there any other questions? Okay. I'll do one last call for questions before I hand it back to Captain Sweeney and we can, okay. David, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Dave again, just to follow up. Can you provide some scope as to, of the $56 million, is there one reimbursement request that's the largest? And can you say how large that is and where it is in the state?
I don't have that information right in front of me. We'll have to get back with you on that question.
Okay, thank you.
And again, I do want to point out too that with that $56 million or the $52 million with the disaster grant specifically being referenced, those are the reimbursement requests that are sitting with us right now. Tomorrow we're going to have another one. The day after that, we're going to have 3 or 4 more, right? So the potential is up to $300 million. Those are just the ones that we literally have sitting in the hopper that have either been entered into FEMA's system or we're waiting to process with FEMA. In one of the systems, we're not even able to do anything with it because of the hold that's on it.
Thank you. And Cap, if you don't mind, David, I just wanted to follow up to your first question about the open disasters. There is an additional one from 2021, the Southeast Michigan flooding that Captain didn't mention on his list. And the storms, the statewide storms that went across the state is not included in that list. It's the 2021 flood disaster for that. Okay, any other questions for Captain Sweeney? Okay, seeing none, again, I thank you all for taking the time to join this call today. I did put my contact information in the chat. If you do have any follow-up questions or needs after this, please contact me directly and I will do my best to get you any information that you need. Also, Captain Sweeney's proper spelling and his title are in that chat as well as that link to our EMHSD YouTube page where we will post this recording later today. So with that being said, Captain Sweeney, if you have any closing comments, I send it back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. I'd just like to thank everybody for taking time out of your schedules today to join us. And again, if you have any follow-up questions, please reach out to Ms. Lauren Thompson-Phillips and we'll get you those answers. So that's all that I have. Everybody is free to drop. Thank you so much.